How's everybody doing out there? Peace and blessings to the hearers and doers of the Lord's word. This is the awakening. I am Salakin, the messenger. There are certain things you need in life to be well adjusted. There are things you need in life to become a well adjusted human. There are some things you need to actually see as a child to become a well adjusted adult. Why do you think people tell you the Lord says, spare the rod, spoil the child, train up a child in the way they should go and they won't depart from that path? The reason why is because God's giving you wisdom. You need certain things as a child to become a well-adjusted adult. You need to see and experience certain actions, certain things to become and I'm talking about to save your life as an adult. You're not like these things that you're taught and the things that you see, these will literally save your life. They'll literally stop you from making a decision that'll end or ruin your life. This is literally life or death for parents. That's why the Lord tells you, if you're not disciplining your child, you don't love them. Those who do not correct their children and hate correction, you don't love your children. So if people today, you may think that certain things are antiquated, like certain things don't need to be taught. Like people today don't even have common courtesy anymore. They lack common sense. It used to be old sayings that our grandparents taught us. Old sayings that they were passed down to them. Sayings, biblical teachings, Proverbs. Listen, Proverbs is a whole book of the Bible full of wisdom and biblical teachings to save your life. You know, Proverbs are full of biblical teachings, sayings, age-old wisdom that will save your life. You understand? Older people was giving us Proverbs and things like that. They were giving us Proverbs and things that weren't even in the Bible, but they were taking a lot of Proverbs and gave us a lot of Proverbs from the Bible that saved our lives. This will not only save your life and give you the things that you need to become well adjusted as a child. This will give you the things that you need to maintain as a well adjusted adult. You got some adults who 45, 50 years old who aren't well adjusted. You have and women know that. Women will tell you it's some men out here and some women know. It's men and women out here who are old, who 60, and I know it be men when men and women get older, they become more like themselves. They become more of themselves. You know, they don't old people they aren't just feeble. Listen to what they be saying. Some old people are very wicked and very vindictive. That's because that's how they been their whole life. That's exactly how they been their whole life. Nobody ever put them in their place. And now they've grown to try to get their way as an older person. But when they don't have the autonomy to do it, and you know, and nobody's really paying attention to them like that or have any fear for, you know, physical harm, now they feel their egos hurt and they start feeling some type of way. That's why you get some old people who are just bitter people. You know, they bitter to the grave. And that's a bad way to be. But Proverbs, man, even the Lord telling you to train up a child in the way that they should go, that's giving you full wisdom. If people, you have to see certain things. I'm going to give you an example. Seeing your family together, seeing your mother and father interact, seeing your mother cater to your father, seeing your father listen to your mother, not lord over her, basically being and seeing the working relationship of her being his helpmate. That goes a long way in the psyche of the boy and the girl. For the boy, it'll build up trust issues with women. It'll allow him to trust women with his hat, it'll allow him to see that in his home. He would have saw it So he'll know that it's a possibility, not just on the movies. He will have saw it in real life. For the woman, she'll know that a good man exists. She'll know that she can trust a man to be, in order to be submissive to him. And seeing that goes a long way with building in their but building a confidence in relationships and building up their ability. Like, I'm talking about everything they see on a daily, building up those emotions within them to be able to even go cultivate their own relationship. Certain things like teaching patience, teaching your son to pay attention to detail. When he gets older, he's going to be a detail oriented person. He's going to, he's not going to be misplacing his wallets and, or just being so aloof. His car's going to be taken care of. He's going to pay attention to detail. You're going to set him up to start to become successful. You teach him to be organized. You show them organization over and over. You know what I'm saying? How they come into the house, everything clean, everything put up. When one thing get out of place or stuff start to get a little bit messy, you chastise them, you scold them, you chastise them. Don't you know a boy needs his mother's chastisement? I mean, he needs her to basically shun him and not clown him, but in a way to clown him. A son needs his mother to, in a way, clown him about his looks, so he can learn how to become well-adjusted, groom himself, and take care of himself. He has to experience that. That's an experience he needs to become a man. You need people and peers around you who care about you, but who will roast your ass. You need peers around you who care about you, who will, like, we call it the Joneses, you know what I'm saying? Jonesing. And the thing is see, I had me and my peers, we used to Jones on each other all the time, man. And I'm talking about, this was in my whole school, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of people, that knew that me and my peers, how we got down. If you came to school, you didn't have on a certain amount of drip, you didn't have this on or this, we were roasting you. Your haircut or your lineup was a little off, you getting roasted. That's just how we were. But see, the thing about us is we roasted with care, and I never just stayed on a person just berating them. Some people, I used to know some people used to be scoring on people till they cried. Like, they'll go pick on a person who they know who couldn't defend themselves. Like, we were equal opportunity offenders. I got scolded on, so I scold. It all worked. I didn't mind taking the joke the same way I could give it. I was one of the best when it came to that. But when I saw a person who couldn't afford clothes, or, they couldn't afford, I knew that they couldn't, they had a disability. I knew that they couldn't really read. I knew they had problems at home. I didn't attack them, and I never scolded. I never roasted them, and I didn't allow my peers to roast them. You understand? But for people like myself and my peers, and and for just a lot of kids growing up, you need your peers to do you like that. You need them to check you and tell you, man, nigga, what you got on, man? Like, you stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, not even like on some mean stuff. You don't even have to do it like that, man. You be like, man, get out of here, man. You smell like burgers, man. You smell like onions, homie. And a dude check his under his pits, do the sniff, and I bet you, give him a week, he'll start changing his hygiene. I bet that dude probably wasn't even taking baths every day. He probably wasn't even using deodorant. As a kid, a lot of kids just be running around. They don't even be paying attention. I remember, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I use myself. I don't want to, I ain't no shame in my game. It was a time when I was in school. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't think that when I was growing up, I didn't used to get musty. I didn't never, think that was the case, as a kid growing up. And I used to be, and now as the time continued and I got bigger, got older, you started to need to use deodorant. And it was a friend of mine, it wasn't a friend, it was a dude who I knew, who basically told me about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, come on, man. You up in here musty, bro. And at first, like, I was, mad with the dude. Like, man, how long? Man, who you talking to? Like, don't even talk to me. But when I thought about, I went home. I was like, you know what? The dude's right. Like, I'm getting old enough now to use deodorant. Like, and maybe he's right. You need, and I took that well. See, if you got a lot of guys, you can't come up to a grown man and 30 years old and tell him, like, nigga be smelling like burgers, like Burger King onions. And you be like, man, bro, like, you just a little, just a little something. You can't tell him that. Nigga probably pull out the burner. Oh, what you saying to me? The reason why is because he hadn't developed these skills that you need in order to become a well-adjusted adult. You have to have them skills. You understand? These are things that are taught. Remember what I said? Listen, let's just go to Proverbs chapter 12. And this is matter of fact, let's go to Proverbs chapter 14, verse 14. And this is just random. The backslider gets bored with himself. The godly man's life is exciting. Do you understand? This is evil men shall bow before the godly. Work begin. That's verse 19. I'm gonna stay in chapter 14 and give you numerous verses of wisdom from Proverbs. These things will save your life. Work brings profit. Talk brings poverty. That's verse 23. You should teach that to your children. I had to develop a work ethic when as a child, as an adult. Like, listen to me. Like, as a kid, I didn't have a work ethic. Like, I wasn't taught that. You should, and this should be taught to children growing up. You should develop that within your own household. You don't have to go work at Mickey D's, work at Burger King to develop a work ethic from someone else. No, you can develop. Your father can teach you a work. Your grandfather can teach you a work ethic. Unfortunately, my grandfather just, wasn't as engaged with us. We stayed, because he was an older man. So he wasn't able to, be able to teach us, the work ethic and things like that. But given proverbs like this, at least you will be able to get them on the right direction. If someone would have just told me this proverb right there, work brings profit, talk brings poverty. You sitting them talking about what you're going to do, you're never going to do nothing. You have to work for everything that you get. There are no shortcuts. It's going to take work. The people who you see, who just look like they went 0 to 60, jump social media, doing this, you better believe that this is God who just blessed them, to do that, and God is trying, they needed that. God's blessing them to be able to do that. They didn't know what lane they were going to take. And some people, let's be honest, they're serving Satan. Satan took Jesus Christ to the top and told him he'll give him the whole world. Satan can give gifts, but you will have to, what you got to do. Now, to help the poor is to honor God. And that's verse 32. That's verse 31. Verse 33. Wisdom is enshrined in the hearts of men of common sense, but it must shout loudly before fools will hear it. Wisdom is enshrined in the hearts of men of common sense. Having common sense goes a long way. Look at how you have rich children who get raised by, rich parents, and they don't never experience people in the impoverished people, or never really experience life of the common man. These people become jaded and they lack common sense. That's dangerous. Those people become to look at people as being disposable. They can become to look at people as being objects to be used. They can become like, that's how you get people who get in power in these big companies, or be meeting on these panels and be manipulating systems in the world that be having people impoverished, having people starving, and they don't care. Like, have you ever just noticed how you could just have people in power who got millions and billions of dollars, and they looking right down the street, or they in countries where people are starving. They are in the countries where the people have those distended bellies. Lord bless them. God bless them, man. You know, I feel for those people. You know, and if Lord willing, anything we can do for them, you know, in the ministry, coming in the times coming up, we'll try to do that. You know what I mean? Like, why not? What's the problem? Why can't you help those people? Because you're jaded. You know, Satan has, not only has Satan done it, God has allowed your mind and your heart to be hardened and blocked, the same way he did with Pharaoh. Once you made your decision, God will cut it off. He'll just be like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? He put you in power, gave you the millions, but God will be like, all right, cool. This person is going to keep doing what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And God got a special place of punishment and hellfire for you. You're going to be in the place where Satan is. See, God got a place of punishment for the devil. It's called hell. You're going to be there with him. It wasn't made for you. But see, when God saw how y'all got down, how the stuff you be doing, like I say, how you don't even want to, you have so much pride, so much greed that you don't even want to get, and you know that you manipulating these systems that cause these things, like one group of people to become impoverished, another one to gain. You know you're doing this and you don't care. You turn a blind eye to the suffering of those people. Yeah, you became wicked, man. That's wickedness. When a good man dies, let me go to verse. This is chapter 13 here. I'm gonna jump backwards, and this is verse 22. It says, when a good man dies, he leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren. When a sinner dies, his wealth is stored up for the godly. You understand what I just said? Did you hear me? So when I just tell you, see, these people who get money and rich and they hoard their money, they be Uncle Scrooge with it. The only thing that happen when they die, they be Uncle Scrooge. But when they die, the only thing happen is Uncle Sam comes in, divvies that money up. Some people come in through charities and, you know, whatever. Uncle Sam may get the money. Then a godly person gonna come into an inheritance or come into a lump sum of money, and that stuff gonna recycle to them. A godly person is gonna be touching the money of a wicked rich person, of a wicked sinner. And a good man, he leaves an inheritance to his children, his grandchildren. When my grandfather died, you know, Lord rest his soul, he had things to leave, tangible things to leave to his grandchildren and his children. He sure did. You know, that's what it said, what a good man does. You understand? So salute to my grandfather, man. I'm just telling you, there's things that you have to learn. I'm just giving you a little bit, you know, and these things will save you from death, prison, poverty. They'll save you from wicked women. If you saw the dynamic between your mother and your father in your household, and you saw how, if your mother was a good woman and how she treated your father, you're not going to be able to get played by a wicked woman, because you're not going to want that type of woman. You understand? A lot of men don't pick women who remind them of their mother in looks, or they get women who remind them of their mother in spirit. Do you understand? And it never fails. It don't fail. Like, it's not something that you can escape. It's like when you experience, like, your family is the first unit you have that has love unconditionally. When you go get your own family, build it, you should build a real, in your heart, you want to build that on a woman who loves you unconditionally. The only woman who does that is your mother. That's the first woman who does it. Your grandmother may be included in there, your aunties and stuff like that, but your family, the women in your family, That's the only women who, who love you unconditionally. They know ain't nothing, there's no conditions to it. Now some women in your family, there may be conditions, you never know. Some people just don't get, they can't get along with their mom or something like that. But what I'm saying is, honestly, you should be looking for that in a woman that you marry, because that's gonna be the woman, like that's gonna be your family. The Lord tells you that you're gonna cling, the man gonna leave his mother and father and then cling to his wife, and then build with y'all kids. That your child is gonna, if you meet a woman and you get with a woman, the wrong woman, and she not capable of that type of love, what is that gonna do for your child? Your child, you stifle them. You see, now they not gonna be able to be well-adjusted adults because they gonna have a mother who they can't stand. That's not gonna good. You seen how many men? Look at the Joker. Look at look at freaking, what was that movie I just saw? Halloween Ends. Look at Halloween Ends, how that boy mama was treating him. It was a weird relationship between them. Look at how messed up that boy was. That man became a murderer. That's because they didn't see or experience the things that they needed to see or experience to become well-adjusted adults. They weren't even taught the things that they needed to be taught. And do you understand what happens when they become adults? They come onto the earth. I just told you, just because that was a movie doesn't matter. That happens all the time. Look at Dahmer. Dahmer is a show based on real life. These men, I guarantee you, like that man probably had a messed up relationship with his mom and father. Like they didn't give him the tools, and he didn't encounter anyone like a pastor or somebody to give him to actually to be a decent person and give him the tools to be able to train him up as a proper adult. Even chastisement, even in the form of being his antagonist. Like, and I'm not meaning like berating him, but standing in the breach in a gentle way, but standing there and being like, look, man, what you doing, telling them what you doing is wrong. You see a kid over there, they doing some ill stuff, burning some animals, or you see them doing that. First of all, as a man, if you see a child doing that as a man, you need to spank that child. I don't care who it is. I see you doing something like that, I'ma scream. I may not spank you because, in the laws in this day and age, how it is, man. And people too stupid. They don't understand that people today, they aren't taught like how my grandparents taught me. When an adult is speaking, I'm listening to the adult, and if an adult come tell me that you did anything, I'm gonna whoop your ass. If the neighbor down the street or across the street or 2 houses down or the block down tell me that you was doing something wrong, I'm gonna whoop your. If an adult told me that, I'm gonna whoop your ass, because why does the adult shouldn't be lying on you? So that's what. But today's day and age, people don't have that common sense. So you will have an adult try to discipline a child breaking in a car. They doing what they supposed to be doing. It take a village to raise a child. They trying to help the parent out, but the parent go to the person, start screaming on them, cause a whole big scene that now tensions are heightened. And one of them end up getting killed. The parent end up shooting the person who tried to discipline the child, a righteous, they end up shooting a righteous person, and they child think that what they did is right. So now they child end up getting worse. The parent gonna mess around, do some time. Do you see the dynamic that Satan created in the way? Because you didn't have the wisdom enough to understand, and you weren't taught what was going on, and how, and the ways to keep you alive, and the ways to keep you out of trouble. This occur, and the ways to make you a well-adjusted adult. You in turn have ruined your child's life and your own, and another person's life is over. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know I'm not. This was broken down pretty much spot on, and this has been common sense from since time immemorial. I'll give you another example. It's a saying that says it's impolite to stare. That saying is going out of the one ear and out the other these days. It's starting to seem not to be something that's said anymore. But people have to understand that that's not polite. It's amongst humans. You see a person just staring at you, that's rude. You understand? That's rude. And people recording everybody all the time. People, that's the same as staring at a person. A person don't want you looking, staring at them while they trying to do their everyday life. It causes tensions, and it's not unnecessary. It's unnecessary. It's rude. It's, you don't have to go and say, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. You don't have to interject everything and be rude all the time. You don't have to do that all the time. Now, I said with the snapping and the Joneses amongst kids, that's different. The kids gonna do what they do. People gonna snap. That's a joke, whatever. But I'm talking about people you don't know. When you don't know someone, you don't just come up to them and be like, you dirty bastard, or something like that. People are like, well, man, you being rude. I don't even know you. You understand? You don't do that. These things will save your life, keep you alive, keep you out of trouble. So with that being said, this is Super Solican. This is The Awakening. Peace and blessings to all of you who, who come and listen to these messages, man, and who learn from these messages and who apply these things and who are in this walk with the Lord, man. A special shout out to y'all who are walking with Christ, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. So, we're going to have a lot more we're going to do a lot more with the platform. We're going to have a lot more. We're going to be on different platforms. We're also on TikTok. You can follow us on TikTok at The Awakening. But we have a lot more coming, powerful things for the Lord. Peace and blessings to y'all. I'm gone.